I've just received a text. And it said, what happened to Joey's today?
Oh, they lose.
Yeah.
Oh, against South Darwin.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I think I saw
A post from them with Cameron.
Riley and
She played centre all game.
Liv. Liv
Normally she's
Cameron.
a bit of an asterisk.
Won a Belgian football last couple of years. Used to play at Geelong. Before that, Lightning, I reckon, maybe. But I played under 19s with her brother 20 years ago.
Because, yeah, I looked up her age. Because her kid is, like, up to here.
Yeah, Liv would be, so how do I, should be,
I think
is
she's
that 4 or 5 years? Should be 30.
9.
Netball Victoria and the Melbourne Vixens would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people as the traditional owners and custodians of the land we're on today, and we pay our respect to elders past and present, and of course anyone on the broadcast or here in the venue today. Both these sides have had an exciting tournament so far. The West Coast Fever have been undefeated 6-0 across all of the matches with 347 for and 297 against. Melbourne Vixens Academy currently 2 wins and 3 losses. They're the 1 game behind in the competition. 297 for, 280 against. Taryn, it's bound to be an exciting game between both of these sides.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. The Vixens, I was doing their goals for and against earlier, and they can be a pretty exciting team. They've won both games pretty big and only lost very small. So it's going to be an exciting matchup to see if the defensive end of the Vixens Academy can hold up against what is a pretty dynamic front end for the West Coast Fever reserves.
Indeed it will be, and we'll go through the starting lineup to the Vixens Academy. Goal shooter Isabel Hodgson. In goal attack is Claudia Mawson. Wing attack is Zali Anderson. Centre Ruby Shannon. Wing defence Tara Watson. Goal defence is India Ford. Goalkeeper Charlotte Sexton. On the bench for them is Mia Lavis, Charlie Nicol, Ali O'Connor, Ruby Turner. They are coached by Jared Murphy. Fever's Academy, goal shooter is Jasmine Hayward. Goal attack, Sloane Burton. Wing attack, Sophie Eastor. In centre is Clara Wigley. Wing defence is Jessica Rep-Acholi. Goal defence, Caitlin Brown's first goal gets scored. Goalkeeper Scarlett Jaunty. They are coached by Guy Keane. On their bench is Zoe Kransberg, Kate Cunningham, Sophia Lammers and Indiana Squires. Umpires today are Casey Scoble and Sarah Johns, and reserve is Adam Hillworth.
Yeah, so a good early start here for the Fever. We saw the centre there, Clara Wigley, picking off deep ball in the Vixens front end, and they've converted off that break. So 2-0 start early on for the Fever. How are the Vixens going to respond? Look for Zali Anderson there, blistering out off the line, as she does for Brundo Express in the VNL, Matt.
She does indeed. She's very solid there, and they're looking probably for that combination of her and Isabel Hodgson having played together for a number of years. Beautiful pass across the circle. Slightly off balance for a moment. Hands up and over, and that is a great start there for the Vixens Academy. First goal in for Claudia Mawson. Claudia, rather.
As you were saying about that connection between Anderson and Hodgson, Matt, both of them making and being named in the 2024 VNL Team of the Year last year, as we see another goal for Hayward, who's currently 4th in the total goals here of the reserves competition. 188 from 6 games, average of 31, Matt.
Yeah, it's an incredible volume that she's had on. Certainly be the target important as a missed ball goes there. Tara Watson just getting a little bit too much on that one. Another opportunity here for the West Coast Fever reserves. Quick little give and go off balance. It is found through the middle of the court quite well. They're backing up beautifully here are the Fever. You can hear a lot of voices, a lot of hands over it. But they seem to be getting themselves off balance quite a bit here on the run through. And that is a much nicer release. Goaler to goaler from well outside the circle. And that is Jasmine Hayward doing what she does best, and that is going to post.
Yeah, absolutely. She's off the back of a knee injury. She's on recovery and only just sort of been reintroduced into the reserves competition this year. So it's been really good to see the recovery, although Sexton, nice pick off. Unfortunately not backed up there. Wigley was all over it. Shot goes up. He's short. Fight for the rebound still going. Hayward pulls it down through the contact. It's a really strong rebound, Matt. It's going to be hard to beat in the air. Absolutely.
It was really unlucky there for India Ford. Just kind of caught where the bodies were landing during that contact. That brings them up to 5 goals to just the 1 for the Vixens Academy. And the connection there of Claudia Mawson and Anderson. But we are finding Hodgson where she is best, and that is underneath the post, scoring another 1 for the Vixens Academy. And Fever are going to want to keep their scoreline pushing forward. So Erin cross-court pass, quick feet and hands there from Sloane Burton. And here, that call of placement, wanting that ball to be put in the right spot and fed beautifully. Gives Burton this now opportunity with the penalty.
Yeah, really nice shot there from Sloane Burton, and there's a wealth of experience across this Fever team. A lot of the players been playing in extra competitions. We see Jaunty there having a crack on the outside. She's off the back of the Black Swans campaign, Matt. So she had a very successful week there. And Sloane Burton as well has just come back from playing in the UK, played for Bath, is now back as a Fever training partner.
Certainly been a number of West Australians head into that competition over in London as a turnover in the centre third goes away at the Vixens Academy. And quick little 1-2 finds Watson with the ball again. Looks cross court to Ford and through. Just looking for a connection, almost looking panicked there was Claudia Mawson. Shannon, long ball, not quite because Hodgson came through. And here, just wanting that quick little option. Cover is there, and that is beautiful by Caitlin Brown. You could see her just reading where that ball was looking like it was going to go. Hodgson gives a double balk, and it enters. That is a great break there for the Vixens Academy.
Yeah, spot on, Matt. Bella Hodgson, as she's known around the Express, she's worked really hard this season, especially on her range shooting, as we saw on that one there, almost in that super shot range that we see here on Court 1 at the Stanford Hockey Centre. So it's really good to see her just extending her game from the post now all the way out to just make herself even more dynamic than what she already was.
And we have seen that across this Super Netball Reserves competition. Her starting to go a bit more from range and with confidence, and so good as a beautiful pick up there from Charlotte Sexton. Just read it like it was written in size 18 font. And here come the Academy from the Vixens. A little fake there, Claudia Mawson. Almost too much on it. It was pulled in by Isabel Hodgson with the contact. She gets an opportunity here to sink another one. It brings it back to centre pass. And it's 6 goals apiece.
Yeah, really good there from the Vixens Academy. It's always easy when you go down big early. You know, they were down that sort of 5-goal margin. It's very easy to drop your head real early on. But they've kept going, and through the hard work of, you know, Sexton down the back there and Anderson through the mid-court as we see Shannon pulling in a deep ball, and now Mawson looking for Hodgson at the post. Chauncey was all over it. Mawson just claims it back for herself and sinks a very nice shot. So both Vixen shooters getting a good run of it early here, Matt.
Yeah, they're sharing the workload quite well, the Vixens Academy shooters, and that's what we've found, that it's quite important for the workload to be shared, as just overshooting that was Jasmine Hayward. And another turnover going the way of the Vixens Academy. Beautifully read once again. Brown has done this quite well. A number of times you've seen her take that angle and eat it up and then transition straight through the midcourt. As Eastdale just top of the circle. This is the thing that we found with the Fever in that first couple of minutes, was that step on and getting slightly loose. But when they're settled, they are deadly. And finishing beautifully there and sharing the workload along. Sloane Burton with another one for the West Coast Fever Reserves.
So, Matt, very deep benches here for both sides. Who do you expect on both benches to be able to make a difference in this one once they do get that time on court?
Well, I think there's an obvious one there for the Fever, and that would be Kransberg stepping onto the court. But we have seen the Vixens Academy use their bench quite well across multiple games. So expect some few changes through that mid-court in particular for the Academy. There was an opportunity there for that rip-in, and Jasmine Hayward now found mid-range. No, just nice and close. Beautiful shot from her. And they've just got the break back again, have the Fever.
So Eastor, I found, Matt, is doing a lot of work on first face centre passes. That is a great draw there from Burton. Took Sexton and Ford with her. Opened up Hayward at the post, who's going to get that ball 9 times out of 10. So response needed here for the Vixens. You can hear Guy Keane on the bench yelling out, getting his players, urging them to find some ball. Here's Hodgson, nice little 1-2. Turns and looks. Jaunty just shortening her distance a bit. Lets Hodgson take that step in and put in another one for the Vixens.
And just patience is required from this Vixens Academy as the pressure from the Fever has been building, keeping it close across quarter. Both sides have scored similar in volume across each of their games as an average, which means you know they're going to be quite good. But defensively, the Fever have had the number just by a bit, with slightly lower against average than the Vixens, as we see that regular change where Hodgson comes out and allows a goal attack, in this case Claudia Mawson, to find the goal line and sink shots like that, which, given the opportunity, she's going to take every time. You see the overload set up now from the Vixens Academy, but just not looking down there is Zali Anderson, and finding a gap though. And that's a connection she has with Hodgson from, as you said, that Burundara Express that they've trained together for quite a while.
Yeah, as you're saying, Matt, about the volume of these sides, the West Coast Fever, their average winning margin is at that 8 mark. So it's a really dominating performance. They've had some big wins, but also they can grind out those little wins. They got to win by 1 a couple rounds ago. So they're very capable of going with the best, as we've seen the Vixens able to do the same with 2 big wins and 3 not so big losses. So Coach Jared Murphy will be really urging his team to get over the line tonight and back up again tomorrow at John Cain Arena ahead of the final series. Great take from Mawson right on the baseline. Step back shot and nails it. So 9-11 here with 5 to play. Vixens Academy centre pass. Chance to go up by 3.
And that little buzzer that you heard there, we're used to hearing it as a bit more of a solid air horn normally, but it's a 5 minute. This is a super shot opportunity. First one, a miss there from Hodgson, but she does get the penalty for the second opportunity. And second shot is good. That is a 2-goal within that penalty period. Beautiful shot there from Hodgson.
Yeah, so really nicely, and as I said earlier, really just extending her range, Bella Hodgson. The ability to shoot those 2s is what's going to make her so dynamic and so hard to stop, as Watson had a crack. Contact there on Wigley. Sexton really defending that 2 line really strongly there as Burton trying to hold some space. Contact on Sexton. So well within Burton's range. Dumps it off. Hayward, shot over forward, sinks it. So Jasmine Hayward says, Bella, whatever you can do, I can match the same.
And it's interesting when this 5 minute siren did go, it's what happens with both sides in terms of tactics and how they change. We do see that occur. As a beautiful long ball there. Claudia Mawson now 2-point range. Sinks it with confidence despite the great hands over it by Scarlett Jauncey and the pressure that was on. And that is what you want to see from any goaler in this range. Beautiful 2-point finish. And that is some fantastic chasing hands there from Ruby Shannon. Knocking it into the hands of Charlotte Sexton. And then back up the other end of the court, ready for the give and go. But as the goaler, that's then the answer. Just wanted something to open. Swing cross. Oh, once again, we see that angle taken beautifully from Caitlin Brown. Just sitting off the body as needed. Big hands over it. Mid-range, off to the left, and you can see that perfectly from our angle here. There was a lean as well, and results in the penalty for Isabella Hodgson.
So the Fever now moving the ball really swiftly down court, Matt. Something that we've seen early on. It's just their ability to move the ball down court. They have been caught out a few times, but much better on this occasion. They've contact called on the outside, so Ford and Sexton both defending the 2-point. But it's Hayward just leaking out to the outer side. And a long shot for Jasmine Hayward. And, you know, Fever head coach Dan Ryan up in the crowd did not mind that one bit.
Yeah, and a bit of a support there from the West Coast Fever crew. You also see Stu Gordian, who had recently stepped down from her role to finish up later in the year. Also there supporting. 2 minutes to go. And Isabel Hodgson under the post. Gets the easy one. It brings it to 16-13. Centre pass the way of the Fever. And you can just see that little offline separation and set up. Trying to get a staggered timing across the line as then the contact to India Ford near the edge of the circle occurs. And now the obstruction inside the circle in 2-point range. Oh, that is a fantastic shot. Just never looked like missing from the moment it left the hands.
No, Burton has got her range right on the money. Mawson and Anderson connecting, really nicely done as they've done to start Wigley. Just the contact on that occasion. Hodgson didn't like the length of that one. Mawson now. Oh, just a misconnection there from Hodgson, something we haven't seen early on. Anderson tip. So winning some ball back for the Vixens, the one that they needed. Up 1. Penalty on the inside. Mawson goes the shot. It dribbles in. Nicely done, Claudia Mawson. That was an important shot there, Matt.
That was a very important shot, and as was that little touch on it from Tara Watson. It just forced the hands then onto Sloane Burton and out of court, and that is a turnover that Coach Jerry Murphy was desperate for. But speaking of desperate for, that was Sloane Burton saying, I'm going to get this back, and she does. Under a minute to go in this first quarter, but just finds its way over the goal line. Throw-in opportunity, 44 seconds to go this time. As the contact call and cross-court ball through to India Ford, and Shannon find themselves up the middle. You can see how much both these sides have really clogged up space when needed, but this time it is a bit more of a passive zone effort. Oh, and hunting fantastically. Caitlin Brown once again. Gee, she's reading the ball well, Taryn.
She's winning plenty of ball, Matt, and it's something that the Vixens really need to adjust to. That's a few now that she's been able to pick off, as Hayward now for two. Once more, Jasmine Hayward really strong there in that two-point range. Shannon's just going to take her time getting to the circle. So she won't take that one as that draws a close to the first quarter. The Vixens currently have the lead 18-17, and we'll have centre pass on our return, Matt. We're just going to take a break for that quarter time break, and we'll see you on the other side for the second quarter between the Vixens Academy and the Fever Reserves.
Welcome back to the Melbourne Vixens YouTube channel. It is the second quarter about to begin in the Super Netball Reserves competition between the Melbourne Vixens Academy and the West Coast Fever Reserves. Taryn, what did you take away from that first quarter?
Just the ability of both defensive ends just to win so much ball, Matt. I know it was a really high-scoring quarter, 18-17, but there was no shortage of defensive gains in there. So it's a testament to both ends of both teams, really. Just the way that they're able to win the ball and then convert, and even when they're not winning ball, just to be able to really execute on their attacking plans that I'm sure that they've got in place, as we see Zoe Kransberg on the court into the centre bib as Wigley's gone and cross into wing attack for the Fever, and they've switched up Caitlin Brown and Scarlett Jauncey in the defensive end. Any changes for the Vixens Academy, Matt?
No, there have been zero changes in the Vixens Academy, which is not surprising given the way they really found themselves as the quarter went on, and you can see those defensive efforts as the ball just slipping off the hands of a few green and blue combinations there, and gives a throw in for the West Coast Fever. And we were talking in the break about the defensive efforts of Scarlett Jauncey and Caitlin Brown's beautiful shot goes through there, and we, with that change of position for each of them, and discussing our thoughts on perhaps why that's occurred, and seeing how well both of those players have hunted from space and distance. Oh, beautiful goal to goal for Hayward as she came out top, and that simple shot there, Sloane Burton. And Sloane just adding to her tally that was 4 at the quarter time break.
And something I've noticed there, just on that centre pass, Matt, is Mawson and Anderson really working hard to connect with one another. We saw a screen from Mawson, which allowed Anderson to come through on this commentary side. So something that they're working really hard on is just that connection with the centre, Ruby Shannon, just making sure that there is an option always ready for her on that first ball, as Watson all the way back to Sexton. So really good defence here from the Fever, posing a lot of troubles here, asking a lot of questions of this Vixens Academy offence. Watson looking around again, long hold, finds Shannon. So they've worked their way through. It took them a little while. Ends in the calm hands of Mawson, dumps it off, very nicely done. Hodgson under the post, ties it back up on centre pass now for the Fever.
Yeah, great opportunity there that the Vixens absolutely needed. It was that first goal for the quarter for them. Fever came out absolutely firing. You can see that defensive effort, and you can hear the bench and the coaching staff from the Fever really yelling and pushing, and Hayward so crucial there as she sinks another goal away of the Fever Academy and adding to her tally, bringing up to 15 points there now. And of course we have to be aware we do have the 2-point goals with that 5 minutes to go. I mentioned last quarter was 4 the way of the Fever and 3 the way of the Vixens Academy. Claudia Mawson, hasn't she been solid in that goal attack position?
Yeah, she has been, Matt, connecting with both Anderson and Hodgson, just making herself available when she needs to be. Not always handling the ball, which we've seen some goal attacks can do, but just really injecting herself when she's needed. Ball probably just a bit too far for Hayward as she did pull it in, but stepped off court as Watson and Sexton connecting, as we've seen so much here early in the second quarter.
And able to find some separation there. Anderson coming high. Able to start working a bit of a positional swap with Shannon as the contact there. Repacholi gets on the edge of the circle. Anderson looking for the feeding option. She's moving the ball a lot there, trying to get the defenders to shift. Isabel Hodgson underneath the post. She's happy with herself with that one. That's the, as you know better than anyone, Taryn, that shooter's hardest shot is that one right underneath the post.
Yeah, that one getting a fair journey on the way up and dropping in nicely. So Hodgson will be feeling pretty confident with her shot, as we've seen in the first and now the first 4 minutes of this quarter. Really calling for that ball, but Brown right over the top. Nicely done, nice and clean, just able to reach up over the top of Hodgson.
And this is what we saw from her in that goal defence position in that first quarter, was Brown just finding those angles, but this time doing it from the body and just taking the step off and around. Beautifully timed. It needed a perfect pinpoint pass to get through, and huge contact there from Charlotte Sexton. She committed to it in the end, coming a little bit further with the body than perhaps was needed. Mid-range. Beautiful shot there once again. Sloane Burton. Take that at any point in time.
Yeah, so nice break on centre pass for the Fever. They'll look to go one ahead. Working through now is Burton. Finds Kransberg, long ball, contact on Sexton, right on the body. So probably need to look at maybe coming off the body, Matt. They've been called a little bit for the contact in this first 5 minutes of the quarter as Hayward puts in another to add to her tally. So very nicely done from the front end for the Fever. Gee, Shannon giving a reprieve there. Repiccioli had a great crack at it, just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, you can see the signal with the hands there. She's like, oh, how'd that get through them in the end? But this is the pressure. And again, beautiful hands there, Repiccioli. That's this pressure they've been applying. They're doing it a combination of a bit of space and step off into that one-on-one. And that provides that miscommunication moment as Kransberg just stepped off and said, the ball's on to give, but then stepped back across and covered it as it flies across to the ends of Court 2 here at State Netball Hockey Centre in Parkville. Of course, the Melbourne Vixens training home and the home of netball for Victorian and indeed Melbourne here. Playing it before she had it. Jasmine Hayward thought it was already in her hands and then just got lost from it. Maybe a bit too much heat. And speaking of bit too much heat,
Hodgson, incredible chase. I'm not quite sure what had happened there. It was Anderson, Hodgson and Brown all running for the same ball. Hodgson just working hard to pull it in. Now driving baseline, out of court. So the Vixens just seem to be faltering here a bit early on in their attacking end. They started really well, but now just stalling a little bit as the Fever trying to keep charging forward. They have that lead of one. She could take from Jauncey.
And it appears to just be a couple of miscommunications going on here for the Vixens Academy that the Fever aren't quite having, where a couple of balls have gone errant and then they've played on with another one again, and they seem to, the errors just follow each other inevitably in this style. And we have seen the goal attack bib place on Mia Lavis on the sideline, so expect a change there in the near future for the Vixens Academy. As the Fever are 2 up now. It's 21-23. 8 minutes to go. Beautiful hands into Hayward under post. And what a one to sink for the Fever.
Yeah, so Lavis is now up at the substitution line, so she will be coming on, Matt, as you said. And whilst the lead is now 3, and while Hodgson will try and get it back to 2, you know, leads can be so easily run down in that super shot time. So the Vixens, they'll be not too worried so far, being the second quarter and still super shot time to come. So I'm sure, and Ford there, nice tip over the baseline. So your wing area will be wiggly now to come up and take it. Hayward and Burton just setting up nicely. Burton, long shot, Ford, strong hand, but Burton does not matter for her. She drops in yet another one for the Fever.
And geez, she's been strong. And this is something that Claudia Malson had been so good there for the Vixens, but just went off from finding going to post. But Lavis is someone who's not normally afraid to go to post like that one. Perhaps a miss or two, but then she should find her range once the 2-point siren goes. But the turnover is so crucial here that the Fever got 22-25. There's an opportunity for them to keep pushing this out and go with their centre pass once again. And it's goal, beautiful, and then finding the pocket. Almost stepping into it was.
Burton once again, that's pretty much the same spot as the last one. Just puts in yet another. We've seen a couple bibs up and about on the Vixens bench. On will come Ali O'Connor in the wing defence bib to give Tara Watson a bit of a break. Hayward and Burton working really nicely together. Shot over the jumping hands of Sexton. The Fever are charging on here. The Vixens need an answer. Who is it going to be for them? Shannon and Anderson, now Hodgson.
Just got to find the right separation, Vixens Academy, and that's how you do it. Mia Lavis. This one should sink. It does. It hits the front of the ring, but goes in. Crucial goal there for the Vixens Academy. One they definitely need. They're going to need a break, and it does not come the way when Ali O'Connor gets her first contact, first attempt at the ball. And quick little 1-2. looking to post, and look, that release and that finish, it's never looking like it's missing. It's a terrific effort there. Sloane Burton once again. 4 of the last 5 goals going the way of the Fever. We're nearly up to that 5-minute mark where the buzzer will go, and the chance for that 2-pointers where they can come back. It is 5 the difference, though, at the moment. Do need another goal unless they're wanting to play around with it, which I don't think is the right idea.
Doesn't look like that to be the case. And as you said, Matt Lavis now finding a radar, getting it on right on time as that buzzer is about to go for the super shot time as that ball's tipped over by India Ford.
And we do hear that buzzer and the sound of the usual siren just going slightly different there. Going to want to stop here, other Vixens Academy. Oh, almost getting hands to it. Charlotte Sexton. Half an inch more elevation would have just ripped that in, but instead, shot goes away to Jasmine Hayward, adding to her tally, 24-29, and just can't clean up this centre pass at the moment. Vixens Academy seem to be getting caught with hands over it. Fever really taking advantage as Ruby Shannon draws her contact on Zoe Kransberg.
So, Matt, with 4.5-ish minutes to play, if you're the Fever right now, you're up 5 in the 2-point time. What are you doing here just to... Obviously, you want to push this lead out, but you see Hayward's taken 2 1-pointers already. Is that something that you want to focus on, just scoring the ones that you can get?
Well, I think in this case, and we've seen it in previous ones, where teams will often go that 1-pointer in particular when it's off a turnover, and then look for the 2-pointer once it comes off their centre pass and they can run a bit more structure for it. But you just want to keep scoring, and that doesn't happen when Charlotte Sexton gets beautiful hands in front like that. Ali O'Connor then on the long outlet, but needing a connection through. Lavis then finding Anderson. But there is that technique change and that strategy that occurs. You want to just keep scoring where possible, especially when you've got the lead. Slightly off balance. Beautiful hands!
Massive block, Caitlin Brown. That was an aggressive block, sending Lavis' shot back at her. That was incredible because she had her radar on from that last shot. So massive 1 ball for the Fever. That was an aggressive block, Matt.
Timed it so well, and it's a great example for goalers out there that sometimes if you got the action on the first one, just put it up, because it does give the defender the opportunity to then really set for the block on the second. And what timing that was. 2-point range here now. No, they're opting for the 1, and this is what we're talking about. It's that turnover going for the 1, really consolidating, even though it had been their centre pass prior to that. All of a sudden, 31-24. 7 the difference. Even in the 2-point game, that starts to push out a little bit. Trying to look for an option. There it goes at the post. Doesn't want it initially. Hodgson then, I think, gets told, put it up.
Yeah, just forced to take the 1 because the Fever just had really great position there on the outside. So just making Hodgson put up that 1-pointer and keeping the lead at 6 as Shannon had a crack at that one, wasn't able to get it. Kransberg, here's a 2 now for Hayward. Probably, it's a great shot over the hands of Sexton.
And wasn't that great?
That's just a barrier shot right there. Hayward, you're already up by 6 at that point, and just to take that 2 and nail it, you can hear the right-hand side of the crowd, the Vixen side, pretty quiet at the moment. Jauncey had a crack. Lavis will look to put this one up and in. Blocked from Jauncey. It's too short, or maybe contact on it.
Either way, she did look like she was probably a bit close on that side. Bounces out. Brown has just been everywhere on these rebounds.
She's not letting the Vixens have anything here as Jauncey through court. They are absolutely flying here, the Fever. There is nothing that they are doing wrong at the moment. Wiggly, great goal rotation, although brilliant defence. O'Connor just ripping that one in.
How did she stay onside then, Ali O'Connor? She just managed to turn on an absolute dime for that one, and it results in the ball coming down for this. And then long shot, Lavisette scores. What a terrific comeback moment with the 2-pointer there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is when you can get the confidence down. You've been blocked once, the next one missed, and just the confidence to look to post and put it up and sink it. That is going to do her confidence a great deal, Lavis, as she's got a minute to go. Hayward looks to respond on the same 2 points. The Fever cannot be stopped at the moment. The lead is now 8 with a minute to play here. The Vixens will want to try and cut it down, but Anderson covered so well there from Repacholi, who's someone we probably didn't mention so much in that first quarter, Matt. but she's absolutely made an impact on this game in the second.
You can really see the way that her and Kranzberg have been working together defensively across that transverse line in particular and out that centre pass. It's really been tough for the Vixens Academy to get it through the court. But here is the opportunity. They need to score here, the Vixens Academy. Fever going to do everything they can to stop it as the swing ball comes to Shannon. Trying to set a screen is Lavis. It semi-works with Hodgson. Mid-range, one for the two-pointer, just edges out. And normally these rings are so good for letting those ones bounce in. 15 seconds to go. Fever are going to want to hold on to it. If not, scores. Kranzberg wide. Quick little release there. Wiggly finds a two-point range. No, it's well outside the circle. 1 second. It's going to be too late for the release. And that is half-time. It is 27 the way of the Vixens Academy. 35 the way of West Coast Fever Reserves. Taryn, what was your takeaway from that second quarter?
Just the impact of the Fever defence, Matt. They were absolutely incredible. They came into that quarter down by 1, and they now find themselves 8 goals the leader. So it's going to be an interesting second half to see what the Vixens are going to do to adjust to that Fever front end, because Caitlin Brown was running amok down there.
She was indeed, and we're going to take a little bit of a break. Go grab yourself a cuppa, head off to the toilet and come back and join us for the second half of the Super Netball Reserves. Welcome back. We're about to start the second half of action here at the State Netball Hockey Centre in Parkville. It is Super Netball Reserves competition here on for your Saturday night. And we've got a bumper crowd here in everyone up and about. There is an uncountable number of people, as I've been informed from one of our colleagues. And great first half there, Taryn King.
Yeah, that's a good cue in, Matt. I didn't know that's what you were going for. Yeah, good first half if you're a Fever supporter. So people on the western coast of the country will be very happy. Those on the east coast residers won't be as happy, although they are showing signs, or they showed signs in that first quarter of being able to match it, in fact even go better than the Fever. We've seen a few changes in the Vixens lineup. Charlie Nichols come on into the goal defence bib. O'Connor remains wing defence. Tara Watson's returned to the court, this time in centre. Caitlin Hill is on in the goal shooter bib, and Mawson returns in goal attack. And the Fever, Matt, any changes?
There has been, indeed. We've seen that goal shooter position change up for one. It is Sophie Lammers in that goal shooter position. Probably just giving a chance for Jasmine Hayward to have a seat. She's played every game for the Vixens. Beautiful shot there. Starting Sophia Lammers' effort off. We've also seen change in the defensive end. There's Indiana Squires on in goal defence, and it's a great opportunity to see these combinations really flow out for the Fever that started off beautifully, didn't they, Taryn?
Yeah, and just on Lammers there in the goal shooter bib, we saw how strong Hayward was, but the Fever have clearly got a wealth of experience and talent on their benches. Sophia Lammers was the Wannell goal shooter of the year and has been many times, so not a bad substitute to have, Matt.
What a great substitute to have. And we'll see, speaking of substitutions, we've seen that change of Claudia Mawson return into goal attack, this time with Caitlin Hill behind her at shooter. But Claudia then finding the range that she had started off the game with so strongly. An absolute crucial one for her, finding that beautiful goaler there between Burton and Lammers. Sinking another one for them. And then just extending a lead are the Fever. Of course, it was 18-17 the way of the Vixens Academy at the quarter time, then 27-35 at halftime. And this quarter has started off strongly for the Fever. Close up one there. Claudia Mawson sinks another one for the Vixens Academy. And just trying to build these combinations. That's a great attempt there. Ali O'Connor just does what she does so well defensively. And that's exactly what we're looking for. A bit more of that from the Vixens Academy. Anderson swinging it there to Watson. Trying to create an angle. Oh, just getting hands and off the post. Trying to find that hold that Hill can do so well. They've just got to find her, give her that first chance to go to post. That Claudia Mawson, little step back and then drop. And it drops so beautifully. And gives them another opportunity for the score. Watson, just a little step on her around.
Yeah, really important break for the Vixens as we see Hill now to post for her first shot. Nails it nicely, so a nice run of 3, I believe, for the Vixens. So something that they will need plenty of in this second half. As we see some substitutions trying to make an impact, and Lammers is probably right at the top of that list. She puts another goal in for the Fever. They just keep the Vixens at an arm's length. It is now 9, and a break on centre pass from Mawson.
And something that the Vixens have obviously been trying to work on is winning more quarters, because certainly when they win matches, they're dominating in a lot of the quarters. These losses that they've had, sometimes it's only the 1 or 2 quarters that actually cost them.
Good tip there, Sexton. So there's that ball one for the Vixens Academy. We'll see if they can convert. Nickel looking through court now, finds O'Connor.
And of course, they know each other's games quite well, playing together regularly, and you can see that connection coming through that centre third. And this time Hill from just within range. Oh, hoping to find someone top of the circle, wasn't there, and gets picked up by the Fever, and they're quick to transition this, Terran.
Yeah, Kransberg doing a mountain of work in that attacking end as we see a nice ball over the top lane. Is taking it strong through the contact of Sexton. So really nicely done from Zoe Kransberg. Just being really commanding in the midcourt for the West Coast Fever.
And 10 goals is a tough margin, even in the 2-point game, to break back. So with the way that Fever have been going, and they're getting beautiful separation there. Sophia Lammers, once again, just finding her space. It's another 3-goal run the way of the Fever reserves. And this is the bit that the Vixens Academy have just struggled with. The centre pass through first line, and then that transition to the top of the circle. Just wanting a connection. Claudia Mawson balks it, then sells the ball on. This time looks for a better range shot. A little balk again. Beautiful from her. That's what they need, but they've got to bring this margin back to get it a bit more achievable in the 2-point range.
Yeah, the Fever are just going to look to keep them at bay here. 10 goals, the margin obstruction or contact on the inside on Sexton. Over the top, Nickel got a nice touch on it. So the Fever will have this throw in. Up 10-9 to play. Kransberg at the top. Lammers on a nice hold, but Sexton coming up with it. She's won plenty of ball tonight. Not been able to convert very often, have the Vixens Academy, so they'll look to make sure of this one. O'Connor nearly ran out of options. Nickel was just there at the right time.
And you can see that Vixens Academy just looking for a punch through the middle on that transition, which is what then threw off the timing.
Squires has done it really well since she started on. She got a good tip there as Hill now almost in that 2-point range. Good shot from her. A break on centre pass. The lead is now 9. The Vixens will really need to score this one, Matt, if they want to be a chance to come back in the 2-point time. Watson, Kransberg was right there. Just probably collected too much of the body on the way through. Anderson is really strong in the air.
Yeah, it was beautiful timing by Kransberg. As you said, a bit too much body, though. The only reason that contact actually came off. Caitlin Hill now, she's starting to find herself. They're finding her as well. Gives her a bit of confidence. You can see that in that early moment that she just wanted the ball in her hand so she could have an opportunity. And all of a sudden, 3 goals seems to be a bit of the theme for these runs this quarter.
Yeah, not a whole lot else has been able to be won as Sexton contact on the inside again. Not happy with the call. There was a lot of body with her and Lamers in there. 2 really big aerial targets, really strong. But Lamers just putting it in. The Vixens will want to not give this centre pass up, as you said, Matt. Those runs of threes have been really hurting them.
And it's the halfway mark of this third quarter. 7.5 minutes to go, of course. 34-43. And just miscommunication on the feed. And this has been it. They need to be pinpoint accurate because this defensive fever now with Indiana Squires, but Caitlin Brown certainly for the entire time, getting hands to almost anything that's needed. And these mid-court obstructions and holds just not working. The Vixens Academy, but Fever, beautiful goal-to-goaler once again. Sophia Lammers, another goal to her name.
Yeah, and the work of Caitlin Brown once more showing how strong she has been in the defensive end. Probably my player of the first half, although there's O'Connor winning some ball for the Vixens and Wigley nearly winning it straight back.
And look at the bench from the Fever. They're imploring that go their way. There was a great contest on their sideline. And this one, the beautiful hands from Anderson Hill. Quick shot, which is what she's known for. Quick release, and it sinks beautifully.
And a really important break for the Vixens, that lead remaining 9. They need to score to make it 8. O'Connor, here comes Hill. Strong take. Almost an AFL pack mark like take there, Matt.
Yeah, it was, and I wasn't at the AFL earlier, seeing my unfortunate Bombers get absolutely flogged. But neither side here is looking like flogging the other. It is such a contest despite the 9-goal margin. And it's Fever once again coming up with that end-line ball. But it's that transition. Their cross-court passes seem to hit the target just that little bit more than when, well, as we see that beautiful long one, then the Vixens Academy, well, they just seem to be getting picked off.
Watson had a good crack at that one. Kransberg pulled it in and just delivers a pinpoint accurate ball to Sophia Lamers as she drops that one in off the back of the ring, as we see a couple different Vixens players with a few different bibs on. Ruby Turner has got wing defence on. He's warming up India Ford. Has that goal defence bib on still. Kranzberg, another ball over the top. She has been pinpoint accurate so far. Really showing that experience that she has up in the SSN team.
And the experience and the speed of that level really helps these players. You've seen those ones that have stepped back in, the effort they've made, and we've seen the change as this 2-point siren is about to go as Claudia Mawson, opting to miss that one. Not deliberately, I wouldn't say, as Caitlin Hill then sinks it. It is 36-46, 10-goal the margin, and of course we have seen that change in goal shooter for West Coast Fever, Terry.
Yeah, it's Hayward back on, who's been pretty much automatic in that goal shooting ring as she doesn't get in the 2-point area, so looks to refeed. Looks like they're going for twos here, Matt, already up 10. Hayward, long shot, and why wouldn't you when Jasmine Hayward is absolutely nailing them from 2-point range?
And this is probably a difference between the first half and this one, Taryn, is I think they'll look for a few more of these twos to really push out that lead now that they've got that margin. Out to 12 and hands. Caitlin Hill not able to pull it up, but it does go the way of Caitlin Brown. We've seen her get hands on a number of these contests as it comes through. And it's an early contact call as the first step on the court there. Ruby Turner in wing defence. And it's an unfortunate thing when you tractor whistle on your first possession. It happened to Ali O'Connor down the other end before.
So as you said, Matt, they get that turnover ball and just look to settle for the 1-pointer. I'm sure we'll see Hayward or Burton sink that 2-point shot here on their own centre pass. Oh, a really strong take from Hayward and doesn't even look to post, goes to Burton. Shot from her is sunk over the hands of Sexton. There is not a whole lot the Vixens defence can do right now because both goalers are absolutely flying.
And Caitlin Hill finding herself out in the 2-point range, doesn't manage to bounce in. Claudia Mawson just letting the umpire know with the signal of the hands that she did indeed have it in there. Oh, not wanting to take the penalty, instead trying to get the 2-point range. And Caitlin Hill find herself in and under, doesn't then get the rebound as Claudia Mawson overshoots it. Fever once again come up with the ball.
Yeah, and we've seen a change as Hill gets the ball back for the Vixens now. O'Connor is on in the centre bib. Watson's having a break. Claudia Mawson just refeeds. They find Caitlin Hill in the 2-point range. Oh, that's a held ball. It was a really good fake. It got Squires up in the air, but just wasn't able to set herself quick enough to get that shot back up.
And it's always a risky thing with the balk when you're maybe taking a little while to square up, that the umpires are fully aware of how long you're holding it for in there. It's beautiful hands there from Charlie Nichol. I've seen Burton spend a lot of time outside the circle for this particular passage, but this is why, because she's able to find Jasmine Hayward so beautifully, but not wanting it, and then coming away Sexton. Oh, as it bounces out. And the play ball, because she did throw another hand in there. As she saw the Fever wanting to pounce on it, just trying to tap it, hoping that it got to her teammate. But this time, Jasmine Hayward sinking in another crucial one. It has been all Fever in this final 5 minutes.
Absolutely has been. We see a bit of an interesting setup here. Burton and Hayward setting up on opposite sides of the circle. Quick ball in, and gee, the Vixens defender's probably asleep on that one, and Burton just missing out. So Nichol outlet to Turner, and that is some quick movement from the Vixens, something we haven't seen so far. Hill, 2-point range, doesn't want it. Looks out on the hole, doesn't give contact. You can hear Guy Keane from the bench telling his defenders just to stay. They're in a good spot. Hill, 2-point, top of the circle, drills it. Flat, really flat shot.
I thought that was going to hit the front of the ring for a moment then, but managed to sink in somehow.
Very, very flat shot, but one that hopefully for the Vixens can spark a bit of a comeback as Mawson on the outside. Contact called. Hill in the 2-point range. Goes straight away again. Over the hands of Brown, who's had 2 blocks already. She got close to the last 2.
And the Vixens have done more in this last minute of this last 5 than they had for the first 4 of it, essentially, or 3 of it, rather. That is the way you start coming back, bringing the margin back to 12. but answered immediately.
Hayward has just been on fire. I'm sure, Matt, you'll have the stats. I don't think she's missed a single two-pointer. She's been on fire and pretty much impossible to stop for Charlotte Sexton, who's done an incredible job winning ball. But they've just seemed to lose it when they don't need to. As Hill, she thought this second jump was going to come. You see Caitlin Brown's head get thrown back because Hill drains another. 10 seconds to go. Fever currently lead 12. They will look to be quick. Kranzberg, now Burton, two-point range, didn't want it. Goes back, Kranzberg contact on the outside. They need to be quick. Ball to Hayward, needs to get it up. Does and puts it in.
And that's where that new rule really works in the Fever there. It was a quick release. It did go just before the siren on it. And what a finish, Taryn, from the Fever.
They were absolutely electric in that last 5 minutes. They were draining shots from everywhere as we're going to have the three-quarter time break where the Fever currently lead 55-42.
Welcome back. We're about to start the fourth quarter here in the Super Netball Reserves. It's a match between the West Coast Fever Reserves and the Vixens Academy. Almost mumbling over which one was Academy, which one's Reserve. They do have a couple of different titles across this tournament. And speaking of the Vixens, they've got a next home game at John Cain Arena, and that is tomorrow when they take on the New South Wales Swifts in the battle for the Sergeant McInnes Cup. Tickets have been in high demand, and they're expecting another huge crowd, so make sure you tune in on KO, Foxtel or Binge to cheer the Vixens on. And of course, tickets are selling fast for the Vixens' remaining home games. Get in quick to book your seats via Ticketek, and we do of course have another Netball Reserves match following that tomorrow between the Vixens Academy and QBE New South Wales Swifts Academy. And there's been a couple of changes on court. Taryn, let us know about them.
Yeah, so for the Melbourne Vixens Academy, Mia Lavis has come back on into goal attack. Ruby Shannon now on in wing attack. O'Connor finished in centre and remains. And the defensive end of Turner, Nickel and Sexton stays the same, as well as Caitlin Hill, who's introduced in that third quarter, remains and finishes off. And for the Fever, we've got Lamers back on in goal shooter as Hayward finished that quarter. Eastor back on into wing attack. Wigley on in the centre. Squires has moved out to wing defence. And we've seen Scarlett Jauncey back on into goal defence, and the first introduction of Kate Cunningham into goalkeeper. Kate Cunningham, a member of the under-19s Australian team, or squad, sorry, should I say, as is Mia Lavis. As Hill puts in a very nice shot there, as the Vixens will look to try and come back here. If you think, Matt, that if they can get close enough before that 5-minute mark, there'll be every chance to win this one late in the last quarter.
That's the thing, with the 2-point game, it can go either way. Who's able to find that easily? And we saw that in the end of that last quarter, where Caitlin Hill really started to find that 2-point range, confident on going there. And you can see she's really picked up the pace and the effort and the strength of the ball in this quarter as they take the first 3 goals.
Yeah, and I think with Caitlin Brown coming off, even though she's already played 3 quarters of this game and she's absolutely lit it up, you know, her coming off, she's been a really big force in the Fever lineup in the defensive end. Shannon, good tip, but goes offside. So her going off is going to provide a bit of a relief for the Vixens front end, I think, Matt, as she's won plenty of ball down there, and Kate Cunningham's got a big shoes to fill. I'm sure that Australian under 19 selection warrants her to be able to have that filling ability, as we see Sexton and Turner winning some ball back for the Vixens, and Shannon, Hill, nice spin, Cunningham, great cover.
And Shannon's really found a new burst of energy since coming back on in this wing attack position. I thought she was starting to struggle a little bit in that centre, but really finding space, starting to find some connections on the edge. And that's what they absolutely needed, was that punch through in wing attack and in centre in particular. And you know you're going to get that effort through the middle with Ali O'Connor's going to give everything she's ever got any point she's on court.
Hill and Lavis just can't separate. Both stuck together. Middle ball, and Wigley's picked it off perfectly. That is brilliant defence from the whole Fever team, as Hill just called for the contact there. She was just getting stuck and decided to come out, but Wigley read it like a book and just flew across perfectly, Matt.
Oh, wasn't that timing spectacular? It was right in front of our bench as well. As we then see the ball just transfer through into the goal circle so nicely. Sophia Lammers back on the court, as you said. She's sunk a nice couple as they've needed. The Vixens, that little punch, has it been taken away from them? We'll see in this next minute. As you can see, the pressure lifting once again. Quick hands, but there were some hands on it. And I'll tell you what, Scarlett Jauncey's not afraid to get in there and just let them know what's going on, and maybe just put some doubt in the umpire's mind on each of those contests.
Yeah, she's absolutely flying since she's come back on early, and she's provided a real defensive spark, as Wigley nearly got a piece of that one as well. And great position from Jauncey on Hill, making it incredibly hard for the Vixens attackers. They have run around a whole lot.
And tell you what, Kate Cunningham's come on and put in great effort in that body pressure already. And that's what you want to see.
Hill trying to pick herself up, held ball, she hit the deck.
She did quite well at trying to offload that as soon as she got stood up, but wasn't enough. And turnover going the way of the Fever is Ali O'Connor trying to get in there and make something happen. Big hands, and they're just sideline, but it's working. Not afraid to kick it back and then find the little connection again, this time through Squires. Gets it on beautifully into that right hand. Burton finds the open space, but I'll tell you what, Charlotte Sexton, you don't let her have too much room in defence or she'll get hands on it. But Sophia Laffers, isn't she finding that front hold so nicely?
And a really strong rebound as well. Left that one short. Sexton was right up there trying to pull it in, but Lamers was just as high. Pulled it in very nicely, and she's been really strong in that goal shooter spot. And Sexton winning some ball back for the Vixens. So that is reward for effort for Charlotte Sexton. She's had she's had a pretty good game, Matt. She's won plenty of ball, but has had it rough at some times as she's got two absolute powerhouses of goal shooters to go up against.
Oh, I tell you what, she has had a fair crack there, it must be said, Charlotte Sexton. Sometimes it seems like she's a bit quiet, but I think that just says more about the Fever goalers and the effort they've been putting in, because she's still coming up with some turnovers and getting some great hands on it. And certainly, as this game's gone on, attracting a lot less whistle as well.
Yeah, as we see Cunningham there picking off some ball for the Fever, so nicely done from her. As just see O'Connor out of play.
And not quite out of play, told to step back. I didn't mind that there from Jauncey either, that she just indicating maybe she's not standing out of play next minute. She wants to be back involved. As a step on and around occurs. Eastall, too much on it. Sexton this time gets contact and a little bit of a smirk on the face as well. She knew she'd done it and just hoping that maybe she'd made a bit less contact for it, but never a question of that shot missing. Sloane Burton, what a game she's been having, it must be said.
The whole Fever front end, Matt, and, well, not to take anything away from Sloane Burton, because she, as you said, has been incredible, but the whole front end for the Fever has been incredibly effective in doing their job. As Jauncey there, just a bit too much contact on Caitlin Hill, as Lavis will take it and does go over the top for Hill and smacks that ball straight out of her hands, so she'll have this shot to pop up and in, and does so very nicely, Caitlin Hill.
That was a great shot. I mean, every now and then a defender will get that late contact that just hits the ball out, and tell you what, it frustrates any goaler. Charlie Nicol just asking the question there of the umpire, confirming what happened. Quick hands as Connor tries to slow it for a moment. Just in that metre out range is Sloane Burton once again. And tell you what, like, she's lifted this from the previous 6 games that she'd played. She was 55 goals.
Oh, Cunningham had a crack. Sorry to cut you off, Matt, but
no, absolutely.
Cunningham.
Oh, hasn't she gone well?
Flew out, wasn't able to pull it in, but you could hear Guy Keane on the bench. He was really happy with the effort from Cunningham, just saying that she was just slightly off.
And this quarter has been a fantastic one. It's essentially goal for goal, despite the margin of 12 that it finished at. Beautiful, another shot there. Sloane Burton, who we were mentioning before, from the 6 games, 55 from 84. That is 84 attempts, but I can't give you the 2-point margins, unfortunately. Play HQ let me down there. Caitlin Hill, that mid-range, off balance, draws the contact with the lean. Cunningham maybe just needs to take some attention away from herself for a moment. She's having some great contests, but then she's just getting these couple of penalties that are letting her off.
Long ball, Sexton hits the deck. Lamers just at the post. Nicol called for the obstruction, so she'll have another chance and puts it in. As easy as ever, and now O'Connor will get the Vixens Academy back started. Lavis trying to beat Tyra Wigley on the line. It's not a whole lot of people in this stadium that are going to be able to do that.
And that was Shannon with the timing that came a little bit late. Just give the little bat to herself. Lavis, she did this earlier in the game as well, where she just put the slight hesitation on the shot, which is when the block against her came. She's good enough to put those up, and we know that she can any day of the week. Quick release. That's a beautiful pocket ball, finding Wigley. And then, of course, Sophia Lammers. Terrific. Her body shape is kind of awkward on the shot, but, geez, it's effective.
Wigley, pocket ball it's a really strong take there. Ali O'Connor was fighting in the air for that one. Wigley was able to pull it down. Sexton out of play again. Nicol just contact leaning on the body of Sophia Lammers. I apologise for calling her Sophie. I think I may have been, so my apologies. But the Vixens Academy will look to score again here. Unable to score on their last one. As you're saying, Matt, Shannon long hold, looks for Hill, tips the ball, wins it back.
And that initial punch that Shannon seemed to bring back into this wing attack position, it's just lost a little bit of that juice. And then the miscommunication there result in the Fever turnover. And you can just see them wanting transition. The pressure immense. Great take there from Squires in the wing defence position now.
Hill got a tip on that one, just goes offside as we hear the 2-point buzzer going off. So 2-point time here, and we'll see Hayward just remaining on the bench. As we saw in the third quarter, she was rolled on during 2-point time, so maybe it'll be up to Burton. So I don't think we've seen Lammers have a 2-point shot as Burton now lines up her shot.
Oh, just falling slightly off. And the possession, there's a contact call, rather, but it falling the way of Nickel. And this is what they wanted. They're transition much better on this time in there from Lavis, wanting something through. It goes cross court. Quick little 1-2, and once again, that is beautiful effort there from Ali O'Connor. And that's the punch they needed.
It was, but Clara Wigley was not too far away from pulling that one in off the hands of Shannon. Defending the 2-point line are the Fever. Hill shot over Jauncey, no good. Cunningham probably could have just watched that one fall over, instead pulled it in. Wigley now. Connection, Shannon in underneath. Draws the contact, very nicely done from Ruby Shannon. As you said, Matt, providing that punch in the wing attack bib. Doing the work defensively is now Hill. We'll have another crack at a 2-pointer. This time nails it, so cuts the lead to 13.
And that was quite crafty there from Kate Cunningham. She was out of play and pretended that she wasn't for the moment, just to defend and slow it up. The umpires didn't pick up on that, but it still scored the way of Caitlin Hill, and this is what she's done so well. And all of a sudden, another turnover the way of the Vixens Academy. 3.5 minutes to go. They need a few more of these and a few more 2-point shots to really bring this margin back and hopefully get some finish. Mia Lavis, no fake on this one. Goes just to the right. Managing to stay in court somehow.
Yeah, and similar to that third quarter, we have seen Jasmine Hayward come back on into goal shooter as Caitlin Hill up the other end nails a 2-pointer. So Hayward back on in the goal shooter bib as Lammers takes a seat. Lavis looking, finds Shannon, and now O'Connor coming through the front. Nice little give and go. Hill trying to be an option. Contact on the inside on Cunningham. Big shot here for Lavis. Bang!
Huge shot, as a terrific shot that was needed.
Nails it. That is, I'm fairly sure that is 6 points in a row for the Vixens. The 3 2-pointers, ones that they have needed. Lead is now 9. And whether or not they can win this or bring this game back to a winnable margin, they have lit up the 2-point time in the second half, Matt. They did.
Oh, haven't they just? And it's how they started that first quarter's effort as well. They're going to need another turnover, though, and a stop. It doesn't come.
But nice little 1-point relaxing shot there. Just keeps the lead at 10 as Shannon now deep. O'Connor wasn't used. Nickel and Turner. Now O'Connor's there. Lavis looking. Finds O'Connor swinging it, and now here comes Lavis, 2-point attempt. Hill just stands in front of Jauncey to stop the jump. Big shot and made.
Oh, what a shot that was. The 2-point range has been terrific for the Vixens Academy in this quarter. The margin back to 8. It's a lot to try and get when the Fever are likely to score again. They're going to look for this. Hayward in that 2-point range. Sinks it. What a shot.
Is an incredible shot from Jasmine Hayward. It was through whistle as well. Just cannot be stopped here. She's been a catalyst for the Fever and how well they've played. Just putting an exclamation mark on their game tonight.
Oh, quick hands. Lavis is so good at that. Sorry, Lavis, I should say. And she thinks about it for a moment, sinks the 2-pointer. Her quick hands, just incredible to watch, especially when she finishes it with a shot like that. 58-66. Turnover, is it the way the Vixens Academy? It is. They've got another opportunity. They need to score quickly. In this sort of game, there is time. They've just got to score quickly.
They do. They've got centre pass to come. Shannon looking around. Eastor got a piece of it, wasn't able to hold on to it. Lavis, another 2. This one over the top. Hill draws the contact from Jauncey. I think they are going to run out of time, Matt.
I think they are as well, but smart move there. Caitlin Hill wants the 2, doesn't quite edge out. She's rushing it a little bit too much even for her. Quick transition, though. It's 25 seconds. Another opportunity here for the Fever. It is a long one. It's going to be a good one. Oh, not quite. There was a pressure then, of course, from Sexton that helped put that off. Does draw the call and the infringement. Looking down for a moment, Burton. Another second opportunity with 5 to go. Oh, they're missing a few near the end. Wants the 1-pointer. Hayward says, yes, thank you. And yes, thank you indeed for the Fever. They continue their undefeated run, and that is going to be tough for them to keep backing up, isn't it, Terran?
Yeah, they've got another game tomorrow in the late morning, I should say, at 11 o'clock at Waverley. So that'll be an interesting one for them. I believe they're going up against the Maverick Reserves.
And indeed will be a tough one. Maverick Reserves had a terrific tournament themselves so far. They're sitting 3-1-1, I do believe. And that's not including tonight's result that they'll be finishing off at similar time. Vixens Academy, of course, got the game tomorrow, following on from the Vixens at John Cain Arena, where, of course, they'll be taking off the New South Wales Swifts and the QBE Swifts Academy in the reserves. But what a match this has been. It was 18-17 the way of the Vixens Academy at quarter time, 27-35 at halftime, 42-55, and then 58-67. It went all the way of the Fever afterwards. And just a little note that the Maverick Reserves got the win over the Swifts Academy, 64-53. So that'll be quite the battle again tomorrow when these crosstown occurrences happen. Or should I say the cross-fixture occurrence happens when these two play the opposite sides. And what a game tonight, 58-67 once again. Terran, what a match.
Yeah, indeed it was, Matt. It was a show of class from the Fever. From all parts of the court, Caitlin Brown really anchored their performance in the defensive end. She would be my player of the match, I think, Matt.
Oh, what a terrific effort she did have, and that wouldn't surprise me at all if she was considered one of the best on. And you can see the Fever are more than happy with that. And tell you what, we're going to be more than happy to do. Let's head home and get a rest before tomorrow's match. It's been a huge night here at the State Netball Centre. My name's been Matthew Blomley. Alongside me, Terran King. Good night.